Welcome to our show. You're listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections, a place to learn about and celebrate creative arts therapy. Each week, we'll explore new ways that music, art, and dance can reach, connect with, and help individuals of all stages of health and wellness. Hi, I'm Bree, Beynon, a board-certified music therapist and the managing partner for the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. Tune in as I interview professionals from healthcare and educational backgrounds on the impact of the creative arts. If you prefer to watch our live video stream, simply visit www.pbmti.com. Hello, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're listening to and watching Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. I'm your host, Bree Beynon. I'm a board-certified music therapist and certified neurologic music therapist working here locally in South Florida for the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. If this is your first time joining us for the show, welcome. I'm so glad you found us. For the next hour, what you can expect is that we will shine a light on some of the creative approaches involving music, art, dance, anything out of the box, a little bit of a different creative approach to any kind of healthcare or educational challenge or situation. And today is no exception. We are going to be talking to Lauren Koff later on today. She's going to be calling in. She's a co-founder of the nonprofit organization Mind and Melody, which started out as a college research project. Lauren and her cohort, Christina, reached out to me years ago with this idea. We had connected through working at FAU. They were students at the time. I was working at the Memory and Wellness Center. And were put in contact by the wonderful folks at the Green Memory and Wellness Center there, specifically Barbara Curtis, and to talk about different ways, different safe and supportive and successful ways to integrate the musicians that are at the college, these young students who are learning all the time these amazing musical skills and who really want to give of their time to give back to seniors in these centers, which I thought was amazing. So we've met, and from that time, just to watch how Mind and Melody has grown as these girls have graduated school and really have made it their now real life focus, profession even, is really exciting to see. So it combines a lot of things that I love, obviously music, working with seniors, intergenerational work, which is just like, that is my biggest obsession. I just love anything that is integrating the generations. Is just, I'm so excited about that. I mean, I feel like one of the biggest gifts I was given was to be encouraged to have a relationship with my grandmothers growing up, and still have a relationship with my grandma's one of my best friends. And because it started when I was young, having that intergenerational connection, and has led me to this career, this field that I work in now. I'm so thankful for that. So anytime I see anyone of a younger generation, including seniors and their parents and everything, bringing that all together is just inspired work. It's so exciting to see. And also just bringing together a way for these students to share. I mean, it's busy in school. This is not, they've got all this free time. They have chosen to give of themselves to not only perform, but to teach. And you really have to just be a special person, right? To teach anyone, it takes patience, but to really say, I want to use my time and my skills to teach someone with a neurodegenerative disorder, that's a really special thing to do, and to see the smiles on their faces, which if you are watching via video today at pbmti.com/connections, where we have a live video stream and also all of our shows are archived there, you'll get to see some of these images later in the show and some videos that we're going to describe of work that's being done through the Mind and Melody project, which is really, really exciting. So we're going to talk to Lauren later, find out all the information about this amazing program that she and Christina have developed and grown over the past, I imagine it's more than a year now. We'll find out exactly from her in a little bit. But with Mind and Melody, it just kind of brings me back, and I know I've been on this kick, so if you've heard me say this multiple times, bear with me. It bears repeating. This mindfulness kick, I mean, it's just, music can just make us force us to be so present in the moment. So oftentimes, my little monologue here every week is inspired by the work that I've been doing throughout the week. And today was so special. I got the opportunity to visit two of my cancer support groups programs that I provide monthly music therapy-based programs for. And just amazing, awesome people. Such a great community. And we introduced the idea of mindfulness through music today. And we started by focusing just on a single sound, which if you did listen to our show back months ago with John Britton, a student at UM, he talked about tone chimes. We used triangle today and focusing on a sound and really staying with that sound and being aware of how long we can hear it. And almost just like an exercise, like you'd exercise your arms or your leg muscles, really exercising that muscle to pay attention to that lingering tone as long as possible, repeatedly hitting the triangle and being aware of when did that sound disappear for me? When did I stop recognizing those tones or those vibrations? To paying attention to an improvised melody and taking note, was it easy to stay with that melody? Was my mind wandering? Was I kind to myself when my mind did wander? And then the last part of that today was everyone in the group was asked to select a song that was meaningful to them, but they didn't think that not everybody else in the room might know. So it was, something a little bit under the radar, but that had special meaning to them. And it was really cool to see what people would share. I mean, we had everything today from songs from 1950s musicals to How Much Is That Doggy in the Window to brand new indie music that someone heard on a movie and loved, to a special song that someone only knew because they had looked up specific songs to dance with their son at a wedding for. And really, I got exposed to so much new music today that I'd never heard of. Many of the group members were as well. And the really cool thing was someone would share a story of why that song was so meaningful, and then we would listen to it. And for each person got that 5 minutes of undivided attention. The group was silent, listening to that song unfold. They didn't know what to expect. They couldn't make expectations. They had no idea what the words were, what the melody was, what it would sound like. So that person really got to feel listened to without even using their words, really, by just expressing themselves through recorded music. And then we got to kind of talk about that afterwards, what it was like to hear these new songs and to not make a judgment as you're listening to it, which is a big one of the big practices in mindfulness meditation is those non-judgmental thoughts. The song isn't necessarily good or bad. It's different. It's new. And, what are other things that we can notice about it rather than saying, it's bad, I don't want to listen to it. So what are the instruments you hear? What are the words you're hearing? What do you think the person is trying to express? What is the melody line? It was a really, really cool experience. And I think people felt like they got a chance to know the other group members a little better by having them share a song that they couldn't put their own preconceived notions to because they'd never heard it before, which was really special to be a part of. So my homework for everybody today in my sessions, and I'm going to roll that over to everybody listening and watching tonight, is to challenge yourself this next week to find 5 songs you don't know. And what I mean by how do you find something you don't know? Ask your friends and family. I'm kind of on this quest to learn more music, learn new music, be exposed to different styles. What would you recommend I listen to? I guarantee you a majority, 9 out of 10 of the people you're going to talk to are going to be excited to share with you because people love sharing music, especially when others don't really know that much about it. And, like one of my group members did today, I heard this song on a movie. I guessed at the title because it kept repeating in the chorus. I looked it up. It was such a beautiful indie song by an artist none of us had heard of. And I'm going to go home and get that whole album now. I mean, it was beautiful. And so if you hear something like that in passing, in the grocery store, on a movie, on a commercial, take the time to be mindful of it. If you like it, write it down. And in the next week, that's the goal, is to find 5 new songs. I'm going to do it as well. I'm excited to learn some new music. In fact, if you have songs that you want to help others out in this quest that you think is a really special song, it's a little bit different, you don't think others know about it, send it to us on Facebook, Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute, or Twitter, PBMTI, and help others on this journey to learn new music. So if you have something really special you want to share, you want to help others, and then I bet if you do that, others will send songs to you to learn as well. So this was a song that I shared with my group today by an artist we all know and love, but a song that not many people know. I didn't know it. It was taught to me by a patient and his wife years ago. It was their song. I'd never heard it before. And in the two groups I played it today, and about the 10 people that were in those, they'd never heard it either. And it's by John Denver. Songwriting via poetry and storytelling at its finest, which I love. So this song is called Perhaps Love, and if it's a new one to you, I'll let you count this as one of your 5. If you have to, I'll let you count it. Perhaps love is like a resting place, a shelter from the storm. It exists to give you comfort. It's there to keep you warm. And in those times of trouble, when you are most alone, a memory of love will bring you home. Perhaps love is like a window, perhaps an open door. It invites you to come closer. It wants to show you more. And even if you lose yourself and don't know what to do, a memory of love will see you through. Oh, love to some is like a cloud, to some strong as steel. For some a way of living, for some a way to feel. And some say love is holding on, some say letting go. Some say love is everything, some say they don't know. Perhaps love is like the ocean, full of conflict, full of pain, like a fire when it's cold outside, or thunder when it rains. If I should live forever and all my dreams come true, memory of love will be of you. My memory of love will be of you. Thanks so much for joining us. We are going to be right back after a quick commercial break with our guest today, Lauren Koff of Mind and Melody. Stick around.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer. Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses, with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're listening to and watching Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. I'm your host, Bree, Beynon, and I'm so excited to introduce you to my guest today, Lauren Koff, co-founder of of Mind and Melody. Are you on the phone, Lauren?
I am. Hello,
Wonderful.
Bree. How are
Hi.
you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure. So I don't know if you were listening earlier. I gave you a little bit of an intro, just the way that we had met through the wonderful folks at the Memory and Wellness Center, FAU, your connection to the college, and just I'm so excited to hear about the progress that you all have made since that time. But before all that, we'll get back to the beginning. And if you could just share a little bit about your background, your musical background, and what got you interested in starting this program.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us today. This
Pleasure.
is very exciting, and I'm really happy to share everything about Mind and Melody with you. So I am the co-founder and vice president. The other founder, Christina Rodriguez. We started this when we were in college back in 2014, actually. So it's actually been about 2 years
Oh my
now
gosh,
we've been doing
wow.
this. And my background with music, more than anything, is I just have a passion for music and helping people. And when this idea came that I could do those two things together, it was like, wow, what could be more perfect? And I really think that music is just this beautiful universal language, and I love being able to share that with other people. And what's so great about our program is that you can be a volunteer, you can be a participant. Either way, you don't have to have a musical background to get so much good out of it. So that's what's so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that it's welcome. Everyone is welcome, regardless of ability or formal training. So was there a certain, I don't know, something that you saw or read or thought of that just kind of sparked this idea that kind of clued you into the power of what music can do for people?
Yeah, I mean, really, that was Christina. Christina has been playing the cello since she was about 10 years old. So she's had a long time of classical musical training from that end. And one time when she was doing an internship at a hospital, she thought, wouldn't it be great if people could go somewhere in this hospital where they could learn about music, learn to play an instrument, be doing something other than sitting around in their room? Well, she wrote an email to the hospital, somebody that was working there in the activities, but it sat in her inbox for, I think, about a year, and she didn't send it. When she did send it, the person had left at that point, so it kind of fizzled away. But the idea stuck with her. She tried it one more time in high school, again, for various reasons, didn't work out. But then the two of us, we ended up at the Honors College of FAU together in Jupiter, and to graduate from there, you have to do a big thesis project. And at the time, her and I were working in an EEG lab together, and we were thinking, we're juniors at this point, we're going to be starting our senior thesis next year. What could we do that would really be fun? So I remember going to her dorm and her giving me some of her ideas for it, and this was the one that stuck out. Her idea was, let's see if music could improve the quality of life for people with dementia. And it was like, what a neat idea. That was something that I had never really thought about before, but it was like, I know some people with dementia, and music is something that still sticks with them. They can hear songs from back in their day, and it just lights them up completely and really brings that life back to them. But it was like, wow, let's start researching it. So we started looking at music therapy specifically because at that point, we really weren't even aware music therapy was a profession. And it was like, wow, this is something that's a profession, that there's research in. This is so cool. How can we make this a project that we can bring to the community and get students involved? Mm-hmm. So that's when it kind of became this transition to, okay, how can we build a team of musicians to go in and really just do basic music things to brighten people's day?
I love it. And even beyond, did you intend for it to almost turn into this kind of group music lessons as well? Because from what our first conversations and then kind of seeing that instruction piece of it, I mean, that really, I was so impressed by that, how the volunteers you had, their patience, their sensitivity to the unique needs of this population. I mean, were you anticipating that? Were you surprised by that at all?
I think we were definitely surprised by it, and I think it's a beautiful thing to watch this is one of my favorite parts, is watching our volunteers become leaders and really develop their social skills.
Yeah.
Because if you're up there and you're leading a session and you're interacting with these participants, you need to be able to take in their feedback and adjust what you're doing to better brighten their day.
For sure.
It's beautiful to see at the beginning of starting with a leader, they're sometimes up there timid, a little scared to start, but a few weeks in, they're up there, they're confident, they're bold in their actions, and you can just see that also transform the group of participants, that everybody has just become this beautiful, dynamic group together that loves being together.
And there's a lot of variables, which we've discussed. And I know the one session that I was had the wonderful opportunity to sit in with you all, it was at a time of day that it can be a very challenging time of day. It can be extremely valuable to have something so positive to be a redirection at that time. But it can be a tough time of, I'm ready to go home. Why can't I go home? Why can't I get in the car and go? And I just remember being really impressed by the students coming in and kind of being comfortable handling that situation, but also how they were so engaged that there really wasn't a lot of that behavior going on. That's really cool.
Yeah, and that's what we ended up seeing that was wonderful during the pilot. I think that's what really convinced us, we need to do this. We need to keep doing this, because when we first started the sessions, it was a 4 to 5 time slot, and the participants, a lot of them were sundowning, becoming anxious or agitated at the end of the day there. And they would, about 15 minutes before leaving time, start asking, where's my loved one? When am I getting picked up? But then we watched a few weeks in, that disappeared, and they were running 15 minutes over sometimes without anybody even noticing. And it was just, and then sometimes we would have participants get up to leave and just, kind of stop and want to hug a volunteer. And it was like, oh, this is so beautiful. I love this.
So what is that training like before you send a volunteer into these vulnerable, situations where anything literally can happen? I mean, we talk a lot about on this show, what I love is that you guys had reached out to me and we were able to get ahead of some of these potential issues that could come up, like timing, like overstimulation, things like that. So what does the training look like for your volunteers before they go into this setting?
Absolutely, and it's so important that they do understand what kind of setting they're going into and who they'll be dealing with. So at this point, we have an initial application process that we go through. We screen our volunteers to see, why are you interested? What kind of musical background, if any, do you have? Why do you want to do this? And then from there, we do an actual face-to-face interview. If we're not in the location of the person, we'll do it over Google Chat, or we'll meet up with them and also talk through lots of different steps of, okay, this is what a music session would look like. These are different scenarios that could come up. Are you comfortable with things like this? Please describe to me a time when you've been in an uncomfortable situation and how you use tact to deal with that and move through it. So we kind of get a good sense of, is this a volunteer that would be vulnerable in a situation like this, or is this a volunteer that understands the risks and feels like they know they could. What we do is train them that if something were to happen in a session, like a participant gets verbally abusive with a volunteer or even with another participant, they immediately find the staff member, notify them. Our volunteers are not trained to specifically deal with that because they shouldn't be. Most of them are high school and college students. So they understand that these situations could occur. It's not them. It's because these individuals are experiencing dementia, and it's really just uncontrollable for them. So then from there, if they pass the initial interview process, we have them complete another Google form that includes an orientation video where they see different clips from a session and are walked through look, these are HIPAA laws you have to be very careful about following. These are, make sure that you aren't invading somebody's personal space. If you're going to sit next to them and help them hand over hand, ask them if that's okay. Ask them what their name is. Have a good conversation with them. You want to build that rapport between them so you feel like you have a real beautiful intergenerational relationship like you were describing. I mean, that's really one of the most beautiful things we see out of this. During our pilot, one of our volunteers, she has a lot of background in guitar, and we figured out one of the participants used to do a whole singing, dancing act with his wife, and he used to read music through this. So our volunteer that had all the experience in guitar and knows all the music theory, she would take him aside, and they would kind of do like a one-on-one trying to read music with each other for 30 to 45 minutes during the session, and they just loved that. You know, he was beaming the whole time, and it was like, this is what's so beautiful, the relationship between the two of you that's been created.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I feel like, I'm sure that you feel the same way. It's almost like this amazing gift that at our age, well, you're a lot younger than I am, but I used to be your age, and that we have this experience to learn from these individuals. I mean, I know
Yes.
way more songs and honestly history and life events from like 60 years before I was even born than I know about current pop culture events, because I get to learn and hear these stories. And I feel like there's so many people that miss out on that just by not taking the time to engage with a senior citizen. It's just, what an awesome opportunity it is. We learn so much about history that others are not going to get the chance to hear about.
Absolutely, and that's what we love too. I mean, our seniors are so neglected, and we would like to eventually also take this just to assisted living, independent living homes where we can interact with individuals who are really living in isolation and create this social interaction where they're getting to be with somebody and they're enjoying the music that they used to get to enjoy when they were, you know, in their 20s or 30s. So yeah, it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Both sides are benefiting, which I love too. Yeah. You know, it's just, I wish that I had had the opportunity to be a part of a program like that as a teenager. What a really cool experience. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Hang out with us on the line, Lauren, if you can. We are going to talk more about Mind and Melody. And if this is something you're interested in or someone you know might be interested in, we're going to talk about how we can get in contact with Lauren about learning more information. So stick around. The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer. Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses, with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're listening to and watching Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. I'm your host, Bree Beynon, board-certified music therapist with the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. And I have a wonderful guest on today, Lauren Koff, co-founder and vice president of Mind and Melody. Hi, Lauren, you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Wonderful. So before we cut to a commercial, you're just given kind of a brief overview of what led you and Christina, your co-founder, to start Mind and Melody, what it's kind of all about. Unfortunately, the videos you sent, I guess, were upside down, which would be kind of interesting for watching those. So we're not going to do the videos, but we're going to throw up on the screen for those who are able to be watching the live video stream some pictures. Are you able to see this as well, Lauren?
I should be in just a second when it pops up. I'm sorry about the videos. They were the right side when I...
That is okay. That is, listen, technology, we cannot control it. That is no problem at all. So it looks like, I'll tell you what I'm seeing, and then you can give a real description. So for anyone who's listening over radio, it looks like there's someone sitting on the ground playing an instrument that looks like an accordion and on its side.
Oh, yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
So that's one of our session leaders, Guru Chanan. She is fantastic. She leads one of our Miami sessions down there, and I believe this is a harmonium that she was teaching the participants all about. And it was really fun because she played a couple songs on it, and then she went around and actually had participants play it themselves as well. And that's what's so fun. Anytime we bring in an instrument, we describe the instrument, talk about it for a little while, and then perform on it, and then we go around and have all of the participants try it out and play it for themselves. So this was really fun because I love when we can find these random instruments that you've never seen before.
I love it,
you didn't even know existed. And, it's the same story for the participants, and it just creates this really fun sort of activity to do.
So for anyone listening over radio and not over video, can you describe what a harmonium is? And I'm imagining it was kind of new to the participants.
It looks like a half accordion and a half keyboard.
So would she be moving in and out that box there on the other side of the accordion?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
I believe so.
Very cool. Okay, next photo. We've got several keyboards, a lot of keyboards going on here. And are these all participants that are playing the keyboards?
Yes. So sometimes we do actual instrument teaching, and primarily that's with the keyboards. So with there, we bring in individual keyboards usually. Sometimes we'll have two participants share a keyboard, depending on how big the group is. But then we set it up so that the keys are color-coded. And then we actually teach the participants very simple songs. And what's fantastic about this is you can have participants who can't even make out a full sentence, and that's really a struggle for them. I mean, when you're trying to communicate with people, but you can't, I'm sure that's a very difficult thing.
Absolutely.
But if we can teach them an entire song, like Mary Had a Little Lamb or Row, Row Your Boat all the way through, and it's a melody that they can recognize and realize, wow, I just played that whole song all the way through. How fun. You just see these great smiles and laughing, and, the confidence is there again. It's beautiful.
And there's such focus in the faces of these individuals. There's not, someone has not placed their hand there and they're kind of, a little bit lethargic or not really paying attention. I mean, there is intention in playing this instrument. It's really cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's fun. And if we have a participant who's really struggling to hold their fingers on the keys, we will help them hand over hand do it. And then sometimes we end up finding out, okay, it wasn't really that they couldn't do this, it's that they're not necessarily interested in doing it. So then we'll figure out, well, what instruments do interest you? We want to bring something in and make this fun for you. And that's what's great. We can cater it to each individual person.
That's wonderful. So we've seen a couple different snapshots here. One with the keyboard. Oh, we do have some in the video. It's a bit sideways, but that's okay. There's a woman with a tambourine and someone holding her hand.
Yeah, this is one of our participants who is pretty far progressed in her dementia. She doesn't say much, but you can really see there as she's playing it and singing along with the session. Light of life,
What a beautiful smile.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Okay, let me see if another surprise something is popping up. No. Okay. So, yes. Ooh, look at the smiles here. Clapping along. She's not only clapping her hand, she's clapping the woman next to her's hand, which I love. Not only that awareness of self, but awareness of those around them, sharing the music together, making eye contact. That's great.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun. Gurachanan is really just fantastic with all of these participants. She makes sure they're all engaged all the time, and some of them just love to sing some of their old favorite songs, and, they're doing it together. That's what's so much fun about it.
And is that woman covered in a blanket with photos of her family, it looks like?
I think she is, yeah. This is one of my favorite facilities because it's actually just a group home. So it's a small house in Miami, and there's only about 5 or 6 individuals that are living there together, but it's such a small environment. It's fantastic to be around. And what's really interesting to me is these group homes are very, very common in Miami. The Hispanic culture down there is much more collective and aware of their senior needs and what is best for them. So these group homes are much more around, I guess, and available to individuals down there than I've seen in other cities. And it's a great it's a great place for us to be involved, for sure.
Well, I know why she's smiling. I mean, she's literally surrounded by love. I mean,
Yeah.
she's covered in it with this blanket. She's holding this girl's hand. I mean, that's just awesome. That is a beautiful, beautiful video. So we get to see a couple different things, from interacting one-on-one to learning in a group session to learning new instruments. One of my questions to you is to ask what a typical session looks like, but it looks like there is no typical session.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I mean, it can really vary. We try to usually start with some sort of singing to kind of warm participants up. We're getting involved in music today. And what's so fun about that is you can start with, a classic song like the Star Spangled Banner, and then sometimes afterwards, one of the participants will just start spontaneously singing. And everybody then will join in and sing a second song all together that wasn't even anticipated, but it's like, yeah, this is fantastic. And then usually we'll jump into some sort of basic music theory lesson. It's always very, very simple, like talking about note values, what's a quarter note, what's a half note. Sometimes then we'll take a break somewhere in the middle to do some live performances. And those usually involve, as I described before, with any random instrument. Sometimes we'll do guitars, pianos, or harmoniums, or Tibetan singing bowls. The volunteer will get up in front, describe the instrument, and then do a short performance on it, and then go around and actually have each participant try it out, see how, if it's a cello, how holding down the note on the fret sounds completely different than leaving it open, things like that. And then from there, sometimes if we're working with keyboards, we'll bring those out and teach a whole song. And then what's fun about that is sometimes we'll break down one song into 3 different parts. So if we have Mary Had a Little Lamb, we can do it so the participants that are very advanced and can do much more note changing quickly, they can do a more advanced part of Mary Had a Little Lamb than other participants who, if we give them, a few whole notes to play, can definitely master that really well. And then we bring them all together as a group and play all together, and they're creating this beautiful song all together, and they all realize that they all have a part to play in it. It's really fun. And then we'll end up usually closing a session doing some sort of musical game, like rhythm matching with clapping, or a name that tune, which could be done with any instrument, with, songs from back in their day, again, that they know. It's so much fun when we're doing a song and it's 10 to 20 seconds in, and boom, already they know what it is. It's like, wow, this is so fun. So the sessions can really vary a lot in terms of what music theory we're teaching, but it's usually the same sort of doing some singing, talking about music, and doing a bit of performing.
Well, just when you were saying about the feeling that you feel in the room, or the look on their faces when they realize everyone is playing a part. And creating that together just gives me chills. It's so awesome.
Yeah, and it's been so funny because we've seen in different facilities at different sessions, when that happens, almost always one of the participants will say something like, oh, we should go out and tour as a band, or, oh, we're our own little orchestra, or something fun like that, where it's like, oh, you really are, and you appreciate it. Thank you. This is great.
Yeah. Oh, that's got to feel good. I know it feels good when I hear things like that. Now, selfishly, this is just totally selfish, I get so excited when I hear about the things that you guys are doing, or want to see your session and see the images of some of these younger kids, high school, young college age, because I realize more people are realizing the value and potentially go into the field of music therapy. And I remember you sharing with me that some of your volunteers have expressed interest in that, and that just thrills me so much.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. We have watched multiple students now actually change their majors from the path that they were headed to music therapy. I think my favorite case is Carly Pileski, who was on a medical track. She was pretty set that she was going to be a doctor. And then she found music therapy. I think she just found, I think maybe it was her choir instructor that talked to her. I can't exactly remember. She was one of our first volunteers. She started working with us, and she just would light up the whole room when she was leading. I mean, she really engaged the participants beautifully, and you could tell it was really rewarding on her end as well. And since then, she's decided, okay, I definitely want to go into music therapy. She ended up getting full ride scholarships to a bunch of different great music therapy schools and decided on the University of Miami, which is where she is now, and she's still working with us as well, thankfully. So yes, it's been so fantastic to see that happen.
Because like you shared earlier, you didn't even know it existed. It was a field. And I mean, if you've ever, anyone listening has tuned into the show before, the first question I ask every music therapist that joins the show is, how'd you come to this field? What's your background? And I mean, I feel like I'm one of the only people I know that actually knew in high school and chose it as my first college degree to go into. Almost everyone that I have on says, well, I was going to school for performance, or I was in pre-med, or I was going to psychology, and then I had to change schools, change my major, whatever, get it in my master's equivalency, because it's just not an awareness of it. So you guys are really, again, besides all the amazing good that's also being done, is really bringing awareness to the fact that there's a profession. They're having so much fun volunteering and getting so much out of it. This can be your job, which is
exactly.
It's a wonderful thing. That's very exciting. Because what did you get your degree in, Lauren?
So I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. So what I love about that is that I really understand people and want to help and wanted to find a way. As I was going through school, I was originally on a route to do something specific like psychological research. Mm-hmm. And as I started doing that as a thesis project separately from this, I started feeling like, this really isn't showing me immediate benefits. I want to see how I'm impacting somebody's life now. I want to see that. So as we kept doing Mind and Melody, it was like, maybe we can make this work, and I can do this for the rest of my life, because this, I can immediately see that I'm having an impact not just on the individuals with dementia, but also in creating, an outlet, a way for my generation to be able to give back in a way that's also fun and rewarding for them.
That's excellent. And Christina was on a medical track, correct?
Christina was on a medical track. She got her bachelor's degree in biochemistry, so she also did her thesis on something completely separate. What I loved was we were both on totally different spectrums of what we were researching for our theses to graduate, but we were together working on how can we bring music, individuals with dementia, and the whole community together for everybody to just create this beautiful, musical experience together.
And that's another piece I love, is that interdisciplinary connection, that the understanding, you have the understanding from the mental health side and from the medical side, it's a great marriage, and it's just going to help build up that awareness in education, which is so exciting. We're going to cut to another quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the evolution of the program, we talked about how it started, how it's grown, where it is now, and where Lauren and Christina hope to see it in the future. Stick around.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer. Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses, with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are watching and listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. I'm your host, Bree Beynon, and my guest tonight calling it is Lauren Koff, the co-founder and vice president of Mind and Melody, a volunteer-based program engaging teens in high school and college students to bring their musical abilities, their affinity for and love of music to seniors, specifically seniors with neurodegenerative disorders. We've been talking a lot about what a typical session might look like, and some of the different avenues that are explored, whether it's teaching an instrument, exploring very basic music theory, or having an interactive performance, which is really, really cool. So, Lauren, since we met, which apparently was 2 years ago, my gosh, the program has evolved so much, specifically because you are no longer a college student yourself, and now have really turned this into a job for yourself, correct?
Somewhat.
Somewhat.
I'm actually still a student. I should have mentioned that when we were talking about
my
the other part.
apologies.
I'm actually working on my MBA right now at the University of Florida.
Wonderful.
But I'm doing it as a professional MBA so that they understand you are trying to work full time and do a job, on the side while you're in school.
Yeah.
So I create a good balance between those two. Christina is also doing this full time. We're at a point now where we're really invested in this as much as we can be, and we hope to see it be able to take off within the next couple of years and maybe even grow nationally. And then at that point, it absolutely could be a career for both of us to sustain over the next, decade or so, we really hope.
That's excellent. So, you're trying to finesse those entrepreneur skills, getting your MBA. You have this vision of seeing it nationally, which I love. But where are you at now? I mean, even now has expanded so much from 2 years ago.
Yeah, so 2 years ago we started at FAU in Boca, and we were there doing our pilot program at the Memory and Wellness Center right on campus, which was fantastic. But they were open to us from the beginning and trying this out. I really just can't say enough positive things about them. From there, then we decided, okay, let's also start a chapter at FAU Jupiter, which is where Christina and I went. And then we reached out to other individuals that we knew in the area and said, okay, let's see what schools you're at. If maybe in this next year we can start up chapters and see how we can grow this. So since then, we also started chapters at FIU in Miami, and then UF up in Gainesville, and FSU in Tallahassee. So all of those chapters have programs going where they're recruiting students, they're fundraising for their instruments, and then they're actually hosting programs. Miami has 3 programs going right now, and all of the other areas have at least 1 going.
Amazing. How many volunteers do you have?
We have a lot of volunteers over the years. It's hard to kind of describe an exact number because we've had volunteers that have come from all over the world, actually, through online opportunities that we've posted to help us with data entry or finding other volunteers. So in total, we've actually had over 300 people contribute to our organization and help in some sort of way.
That's incredible. So as it's grown so much, 300 people involved in this effort in the last 2 years, how are you and Christina able to monitor this, especially as it spreads throughout the state? Are you able to visit these campuses and be kind of hands-on, or how is that working?
What's beautiful about this is it really is very decentralized. We've ended up setting it up and structuring it so that I, more than anything, manage the chapters. So I have direct communication with all of our presidents that run all of these chapters, and we meet and talk online over Google Chats, or, I can be part of their meetings as well through video chat if it's necessary for us to go to a campus and, train them that way. We also do those sorts of things. But what's beautiful about this day and age is how much we can accomplish over the internet. Basically, everything that we do together is done through Google Drive. So we share the session plans on there. We meet up on a weekly basis if they need it to talk about what their plan for the upcoming week is, practice any parts of it that they're feeling a little uncomfortable with. And then also we'll do actual trainings with new session leaders that we have coming on. So we'll try to do a session leader training probably about once a month or once every couple months, depending on how many people are interested. We'll meet with them for a few hours one day and walk through a bunch of different scenarios, have them actually role play out a session themselves, and then get them involved in the music sessions, because nothing is as powerful a teacher as the actual hands-on experience. Absolutely. Right there with the individuals experiencing dementia.
Absolutely. Did you say You said FSU is involved, correct?
Yes, FSU is involved, and we have started reaching out to the music therapy department there because we would love to have this be, an opportunity where, look, you could do an internship where you're getting to be involved with these individuals. Is this something that you're doing necessarily otherwise? We've had a couple music therapy students that have been interested. One of them is fantastic. She even did a presentation for us the other day trying to get a grant so that we could use, that in specifically Tallahassee to purchase instruments for their programs there. So it's been great to start getting the music therapy schools involved, and we hope to also start a program at the University of Miami in this next year and get the music therapy school involved there as well.
Excellent. And a new program is starting this year at Florida Gulf Coast University, so that might be another place to reach out if you're not already in that area.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm happy to help you in any three of those schools areas, as I, kind of know some of the people in the departments there. So that is something we can talk about offline, but I'd love to help you out with that. I will mention this again before we wrap up. We just have about 5 minutes left, but if anyone is listening today who is interested in this, or maybe their kids or someone they know they think would be a good fit for this, how do people find out more information, get in contact with you?
Absolutely. The easiest way would be to go to our website, so just www.mindandmelody, all spelled out as one word, .org. If you go on there, you can find information on how to get involved and volunteer, how to donate to our cause. Right now, we have a GoFundMe for instruments. We're going to be launching new programs, hopefully in Jacksonville, West Palm Beach, and maybe up into St. Lucie and Martin County. So we need to raise a bunch of funds for instruments to be able to start those programs. And then we're also having a fundraiser in September that's going to be contributing to the instrument purchases as well. So if you just go on our website, www.mindandmelody.org, or if you'd like to call me to learn more information, you're absolutely welcome to do that as well. I love talking to people and telling them all about what we do and giving them more information. My phone number is 772-233-6839.
Wonderful. I know you just touched upon this, but I just want to really emphasize this is a nonprofit volunteer base, but still you all are traveling around, you're engaging people, you're doing data entry, you're getting instruments, so you are really relying on these fundraiser efforts to keep the program going, correct?
Absolutely, yes. It's crucial that we have as many volunteers in as many different aspects as possible. And that's the thing, if you're not interested in necessarily attending music sessions, but you hear about what we're doing, you're interested in it, you think it's great, and you're thinking, how could I help? Visit our website, send us an email, because we will find a way for you to help that would really be truly beneficial to everybody involved. We want to get everybody into the right box that's going to help them, and help us as well.
Well, I know, and I hope some of them have worked out. Every time I get a call from a parent or a student looking to do some volunteer work with us, I just explain that we do professional services and a little bit about what music therapy is and what might be interesting for them to look at for a career path. But to get that experience beforehand, my gosh, I've sent countless people to you. I hope some of those have worked out.
Yes, absolutely. They have all. It's been fantastic, everyone you sent, yes. Good.
And I know now if I see local people, if I see you all on a resume, that they've had that background experience, that's going to hold so much weight with me, just knowing how much consideration and really professionalism that you all put into training people to have these appropriate interactions. It's a great thing.
Thank you so much, Bree. I really, really appreciate you having us today and being able to talk about everything with Mind and Melody and what we do. It's just such a passion for both of us, myself and Christina, and really everybody that we've brought in and is involved now. I can flash back to our first volunteer ever, Rochelle, and her coming in and us being like, okay, at least we have one person. I think
that's who I saw, too, at the Green Center. I remember her.
Yeah, so she's still with us, and she's a fantastic session leader, and we're so happy to have her and all of our other countless volunteers. We just feel really, really happy with everything that has happened so far, and really just truly very thankful for everyone that is involved and everything that's been accomplished thus far.
I love, too, just even the language that you use when talking about the individuals involved with this, as far as, calling your volunteers leaders. And again, you really notice how some of these kids who are taking on these roles do get to develop those leadership skills that are so important. That must be neat to see that.
I've truly witnessed it multiple times, and it's just, to grow a leader is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
It is, and you guys are a part of a beautiful thing. We've got about 1 minute left, so I just want to give you another opportunity to shout out how people can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. So visit our website, please, www.mindandmelody.org. You could also see lots of great pictures and videos if you visit our Facebook. It's just facebook.com, search Mind and Melody. We should pop up. Lastly, if you'd like to give me a call, 772-233-6839. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about what we do, how you can get involved, where all we are located, and any other questions you may have.
You are awesome, Lauren. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me tonight. Kudos to you and Christina, all your hard work. You're doing a great thing. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. We'll see you again next week. Have a great week.
Thanks so much for having us. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. We hope you enjoyed today's program and discovered new ways to bring music, art, and dance into your home or workplace. Please find a copy of today's show at pbmti.com. If you have any questions for our guest or myself, please email me at Bree, that's BREE, at pbmti.com, or call the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute at 561-747-9944. Tune back in next week for an all-new live show. See you then.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of